And we're live. So let me know when you're ready, and I will roll that intro.
All right, I'm coming.
And we can start this thingamajig. The whatchamacallit.
Is that what it is?
That's
Is that
right.
what you call it?
Isn't a candy bar a whatchamacallit?
It
I think
was.
yeah, I think so.
It might still be.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not well versed on my candy bars in today's world, I guess. And I know a few, and that's about it. Oh yeah. So I get to take the beat down today. Good times.
Yep.
I'll take it. It's all right.
Everybody's got their day, bro.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Everybody's got their day. All right, let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Shut up and sit down.
Boom. Hello, everybody.
Boom.
That's right. Welcome to the Dope and Dharma edition of the Couch Live. That's right. We're here. We are Dope and Dharma. This is the Couch Live. Street certified dope Dr. Louis Delgado here with you for the last who knows how many years since 1999.
At least three.
At least three.
At least three.
Right. And then of course that's the Dharma guy, Trinity Phillips, co-host.
Hey. I'm doing well-ish.
And that for at least 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well-ish. Well, I mean, how Trinity's doing, just to, full disclosure, is he's the inspiration of today's show, people. Now, the Couch Live, we talk about drugs and alcohol, family issues, but we also talk mental health issues, and because mental health is a big part of why people may drink a little bit much, may do a little bit something, right? A little stuff. There's a lot of gambling going on.
There's a lot of gambling.
A lot of gambling. I've heard a lot of stories. It's even had meat tents. Some of the people that told me their gambling stories had meat tents.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame some of the ones that you told me about. Like, that's crazy.
Right.
I gambled a little bit. It was like $8 or something. Like,
yeah,
it was nothing. And I won 2 of my 4. So,
yeah. The 50K, the guy who gambled 50K, you know who you are. You had me stressed. You had me stressed for you. $50,000 on a game is just a little bit excessive.
So wait a minute, what, including odds and stuff, what did that 50 grand turn into? Because I'm sure it's not a straight up. There was odds on it.
Pay for you. No, he got 45. He no matter what was up for 50. It was 2.5 points. He had 2.5. He got it.
That's crazy.
But anyway, but you got to pay the money because there's a vig. Of course, when you use a bookie, but when you go around the United States government, you gotta pay the price anyway.
You're gonna pay somebody.
You gotta pay somebody. But anyway, we're not talking all about that, but we are talking disappointment today on the Couch Live, Trinity, because people like yourself who were extremely hopeful, and rightly so. You had the best team in NFL. I got to give it to you. You guys have the best overall team in. Well, I mean, even the best team can be beat on any given Sunday, right?
Touche.
One of the best movies ever. But so you guys have the best all-around team, San Francisco 49ers, but Mahomes is a factor. And there's a magic little halo that surrounds that team, much like the Patriots used to have. Mm-hmm. And so, whether it was Brady, whether it was Belichick, it doesn't matter. There was a little magic dust on that team. And there's magic dust on this team. And when you play them and the money line is open, when the pay window is open, you better be ready.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about disappointment today, people, because our own Dharma guy, he said it was $8, but it was 16. He halved it because that's what you do when you gamble. You lie. It's part of the deal. It's
I don't.
Gambling. No, you texted me. It was $16.
Was it 16? Okay, yeah. I did 5 on one and 3 on the other.
Brutal honesty, Trinity. The only way to recover, the only way to get better, the only way to get out of this, Trinity, is you got to be brutally honest.
Yeah, I won 2 and I lost 2.
So you can focus on whatever you want to, Trinity. The moment Christian McCaffrey didn't score on that first win drive, I knew your parlay was done.
Was that the parlay? I don't think that was the parlay though.
Oh,
I think that was just a straight up one.
Anyway, we're speaking language that some people go, "What are you saying?" Other people know it real well, and other people are like, I don't even know what that means. But we're not going to get into that. This is not a gambling education show, Trinity.
Right.
This is a show that focuses on disappointment today. because I don't want you, my brother. I care about you, and I don't want you to go over the edge and drink over this. I don't
Sure.
want you to get high over this. I don't want you to just run away and hide in Alaska over this, because I know Alaska's on the radar. I know you've been thinking about
That's
it.
still coming, but
Well, I
not because
know,
of this.
I know, but I don't want this to be the reason you go prematurely. I want you
Sure.
around Central Florida as long as you can. And speaking of Central Florida, we're on WOKB here in Central Florida.
1680 a.m.
1680 a.m.
or
and
100.7
That's right.
on the dial.
On the dial, the FM dial. So hello to everybody at WOKB. Welcome to Couch Live. We are Dope and Dharma. Of course, I'm the Dope Doctor. He's the Dharma guy. And if you're listening to us, it's because somebody on your station cares about you. They don't want you to be disappointed. We don't want you to be disappointed. This show is brought to you by Orange County, for one. And Orange County wants you to be okay. Our own Mayor Demings, he knows the value of this show. He knows the value of mental health. And that part I'm not joking about, actually, even though I can make lots of jokes about it. I'm not joking about it. He actually cares, and that's why this show is out and around. So let's talk about it, Trinity. Disappointment. It's a matter of perspective, is it not, Trinity? It's a matter of the way you view it and what you do with that information, because we all, no matter how much we try not to have expectations leading into something, we just do. We have natural expectations. We have designed expectations. We have overinflated expectations. But on top of that, not just expectations, we have wishful thinking, Trinity.
Yeah.
And sometimes our wishful thinking is what gets crushed. Not always just the expectation, but sometimes just the wishful thinking. You know, like when you were a young child and you would wait in front of that bay window at your home,
waiting for my dad to come back.
Dad come, and he just didn't get there. Trinity, I'm sorry.
Yep.
To this day, I offer you my condolences, Trinity.
He's out there looking for milk still.
He's still.
Yeah.
He's still. Well, you know, he doesn't need.
I guess technically she left him, so I don't know how that would work.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. Well, smart woman.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
You know, smart woman. She picked you up like the football that you were.
Yeah.
And ran like she was McCaffrey.
I think she spiked me too, though. So I think that's part of the problem.
She ran like McCaffrey. He couldn't stop her.
Yeah.
You know, she did a Debo on him. And just like, boom,
Peace,
get out of my
I'm
way.
out. Yeah.
Speaking of that, Debo had a hamstring issue and was back in the game.
Yeah.
I did not expect to see him back in the game.
Toradol works wonders, I'm sure.
Yeah. Hey, don't be passing rumors. Is that true?
I'm
You have
sure
insider
it is.
information? You have insider information, True? Are you
Every
giving us the scoop?
documentary I've ever watched, they all agree that they all use it.
Send him the emails, people, not me. I don't have any information. Debo, I don't know what you did, Debo. I just think you're a man, Debo. I just think you're a tough guy.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. And if that offends somebody, I apologize. I still think you're a man.
Sure.
Anyway, Trinity, disappointment. So let's get into it, because again, I mean, there's some people, real deal Holyfield information. You know, there's some people that were disappointed.
Yeah, yeah.
And it like rocks their day. Now, look, I don't know if you guys as San Francisco fans are as emotionally distraught as Dallas Cowboy fans get. I don't know. I've been around Dallas Cowboy fans my whole life, so I know when Dallas loses, like the state literally, you know, shuts down for a bit. There's a moment of pause.
Yeah, I've got friends that are, you know, fans of various sports teams that, like, when their team doesn't do well,
right?
You don't want to be anywhere near them. Like, they're just unbearable to be around.
Right.
I don't buy into that personally. Like, the phrase that I always use, and you've heard me say it, you know, probably hundreds of times at this point, just because you buy a hat doesn't mean you're on the team.
That's right.
And so
I'm
it's
not
like,
on the Philadelphia Phillies team, exactly, because I do have the Philadelphia Phillies hat on, and I'm not on the team. Correct.
Like, if I was, you know, if I was a 49er, like a legitimate, you know, tried out for the team, got a contract, and I'm out there playing, and I worked my butt off all season long to win.
Right.
I could see myself being pretty devastated of not winning, because I actually had a dog in the fight. Like, this is my life's work that I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to make my dreams come true.
So are you saying the fans don't have a dog in the fight?
I'm saying that the it's all about perspective. Like, you know, to allow your mood, your temperament, and even your day to be
Right.
dictated to you by something you have zero control over whatsoever, it just feels unsustainable to me.
Okay.
It feels like maybe not the most skillful of decisions to make.
Right.
Like I'm in control of my health, my my mood, if you will. And so I choose to put the game where it's supposed to be, and that's just a game. It's entertainment. It's fun to watch. I love the game of football. Like I'm a football
Right.
fan first,
Right.
then I'm a 49ers fan.
Okay.
So as a football fan, how can you be disappointed with a game that went to overtime in like
Right.
like come on, man. Nobody blew each other out. There was no terrible calls that like swayed it either way. It was just two solid teams,
Okay.
playing football with a margin of error was that. You make even the slightest misstep and that's it. To the point where it went into overtime. So as a football fan, come on, man. I'm gonna remember that Super Bowl.
So you didn't get drunk over it? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, I don't drink, so
That's why I'm asking. You didn't
yeah,
get drunk over it, right, Trinity?
no.
Okay.
But as a 49ers fan, yeah, man, there was a moment of reflection of like, damn, like again, it's been since 95 that we won. I say I'm not on the
I think it's
team.
90. I think it's 96, but maybe
I
95?
think it was 95. It was we
Okay.
against the Chargers when we smoked them.
Yeah.
But we've been back a few times. Once again, I say I'm not on the team, but I say we as a collective, the proverbial we.
You're using a Mike Tomlin word. I like it. The collective.
But yeah, I mean, the last 3 times it was got beat by the Ravens. That one was disappointing a lot because I think we could have won that game had we done what got us there.
Right.
The next one was against Mahomes. We were up 20, like we were up 10 points, 20 to 10 or something like that.
Right.
Fourth quarter. He came back, and that was when his legend began, was doing what he does.
Woo.
And then we lost again last night. And so yeah, it sucks. It's disappointing, but at the same token, I don't really get anything if they win. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to ship me my ring. I'm not going to walk out on the field and be honored or anything, So the only thing that would have given me is pride in a team that I like.
Yes.
It would have given me.
That means something, Darmaga. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I didn't do
That
anything.
means something. I mean, their victory is your victory. Don't tell me you don't walk more proudly, or don't tell me you don't puff out your chest a little bit more when your
that's
team
what I was getting ready to
wins.
say. Was it gives me the right to talk smack.
Yeah.
Right? It gives me the right to be able to talk to people around me, and as a dude, it feels good to be able to, like you said, pump the chest up and talk or whatever.
We know Mike Maynard that listens to the show from Kansas City is excited today. We know Leo Rhines from St. Louis, Missouri, who listens to the show is excited today. We know they're excited.
Sure, and they should be,
yeah. We know they're going to eventually see this show on one of the podcasts or streams or something, and then they're going to comment on it later because they want to see you cry.
Yeah,
they want to see you disappointed.
Yeah. This is it. This is my disappointing. It looks a lot like my happy.
I was gonna say
it's even keel. I don't get too high or too low. I mean, yeah, it sucks. I gave myself a couple seconds. Maybe 30 seconds to a minute last night.
What does that look like? What is a couple seconds?
I just sat there.
Disappointment look like for you?
I just sat there, and I put it in perspective, and I had to appreciate, like, you know what, man, like for the first time in a while, it felt really good to watch football this whole season. I liked us being in the mix. I enjoyed seeing them successful. When my teams don't, football is like pretty much the only sport that I watch now.
Right.
And when my teams that I root for aren't doing well and are completely out of it, it's difficult to be as enthusiastic in watching it. I still watch because I'm a football fan, and I still want to know what's going on and be aware of it. But my enthusiasm is just muted a little bit.
I got you.
So it feels good to have your team in it and running for it. So I had to take some time to appreciate that, the good stories that did take place from it. Right. And I got to appreciate greatness in Mahomes, man. I mean, yeah, it sucks that they beat us, but dude, like we're watching something that like I've never seen before with Mahomes and what he's doing.
Right.
And so to me, I think that's part of the disappointment aspect is keeping your perspective.
You saw it with Brady, but you really did not want to accept it with Brady. I remember we used to have these conversations for years, and you I still think they're different. You never gave Brady the credit ever. Until he was in Tampa, which a lot of people. You're not the only one. You weren't alone in that. I mean, all fairness.
I give Brady credit for his decision making. and his ability to make the right decision at the right time. I mean, I think
Football
that there's
intelligence is huge, though.
yeah, I think
big
that's a
factor.
major ability. For me personally, what makes
Mhm.
Mahomes different is not only does he seem to have the right decision making,
Yeah.
but his athleticism is just the things he does. He breaks like every rule in the
Can-
book,
Can
and
we
it
talk about
works.
that? Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure, sure.
Because am I wrong to say that he is the most unathletic looking athlete of that
Yeah,
caliber? I mean, am I wrong to
yeah,
say
he
that? I mean,
runs weird. His helmet even looks weird. It's
he
like
kind of
high
looks
and forward.
weird. He runs
Yeah,
weird. He talks a little weird.
yeah.
I mean, like, there's nothing about the guy that says I'm a superior athlete
He looks like he could be bagging your
you
groceries at Walmart.
until you play against him
Yeah,
or
he looks like
watch
he could be
him.
bagging your groceries.
Yeah,
He just
but
looks like a normal regular every
a
guy.
regular
everyday
guy.
Yeah,
He just
just
looks like a regular guy.
yep. Yeah.
I mean, some
I
of
don't
these
even think he's
athletes look superior. He doesn't
I
look
don't even
superior.
think he's tall, right? He's like 6 foot, something like that,
He
6'2".
doesn't look tall.
Yeah, I don't think he's like I mean, I know for some people 6 foot or 6'2"
And
is
he's not
tall.
proportioned. It doesn't have it's amazing.
Yeah.
He really breaks the mold to me
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what it really shows that
Sure.
that there is no look.
Yeah.
Like there is no look when
Yeah.
it comes to certain skill sets and talents. And I think it's what you said. It's when you mix football intelligence with athleticism,
Mhm.
it doesn't need a look because football intelligence in itself is such a strong muscle
Yeah.
that if it exists with even his body, it makes him like Superman.
So for me, it makes it hard to be disappointed for too long,
Right.
because our team looked good. I'm sure we'll be in
Okay.
the mix again. And I got to see Mahomes. Like, I think it's cool now that my kids can come talk to me and I can tell them what it was like when Jordan was playing.
Right.
Like, I remember watching Jordan and getting fired
Right.
up and like,
Right.
how amazing that was.
Right.
And now all they think of is like shoes. They don't realize that he was like the greatest to ever play the game.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's hard to be disappointed when you look at it from that perspective, right? Like, my disappointment would come if I had some sort of expectation that we were going to win, and like, no, I have no control over that. So yeah, it sucks. I would much rather we won, but at the same token, dude, Mahomes is magical, man. Like, just watching what he's able to do and how he's able to continue to will his team to victory, you got to respect that. So yeah, man. I mean, disappointment sucks, but yeah, I do have friends. Even to a lesser extent, I was kind of like that many moons ago when I was younger. I would get just pissed off and upset, if my team lost.
Right.
But not to the extent that I have like, there's a friend in my mind right now I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
and
everybody knows somebody they can think about right now.
He's just terrible. His team loses, dude. He's a jerk, man. Like, just, oh my gosh. And like, jerk to his family, jerk to his friends, and they use it as an excuse. They're like, well, like, they knowingly say,
Yeah.
I get like this when my team loses. And it's like, well, dude, like, work on that, right? Like, that's not something to brag about. That's something to be ashamed of, actually.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they tout that like a badge of honor, that somehow makes them more dedicated than the next person. And it's like, even the people who played in the game don't mistreat their family the way you did.
Right.
And they were in the game. They have every right to be more disappointed. And they were, but they, it's part of the game, guys. That's what you signed up for.
I wonder if my cousin Louie and his wife Mel are dealing with it as good as you are. They're big 49er fans. They just flew into town today, Central Florida, so we'll be seeing them tomorrow. I wonder if they're gonna be like you are, or if I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
There's somebody else that I've never met personally, but I guess you're friends with in New Smyrna.
Brandy.
Yeah,
And she went to the game.
And she posted a not very nice post after
really?
the game. Yeah.
Oh.
Which, I get it though, right? Like, I understand it. I choose to not do that, I guess. I choose to keep it perspective because,
okay, good.
Once again, just because you buy a hat or a jersey or whatever, you're not on the team. Like, you don't have any actual control over that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think you take away a little of the fun with it. So let me ask you that. So do you think that by the way you take it, and people, we're not saying that the way Trinity takes it or the way I take it is the right way or the wrong way or anything like that. I'm just saying, do you think the way you take it takes away a little of the joy when you do win, though? Like if,
No.
like you said, this is my happy face, this is my mad face. I mean, you know,
No, not
doesn't
me.
because I got to admit, I really love the excitement of winning,
Oh, dude, I was
but
super
I'm just
excited
a
last
good
night.
loser. I'm
Right.
not the same both ways. I'm not the same happy as I am angry or losing, but I'm a great loser
Right.
because I've had a lot more practice losing in life than winning in life.
Right.
So I think one of the most important things you can do for yourself is to be a good loser
Yeah.
and celebrate someone who beats you.
Yeah.
If someone beats you and they do a good job, you got to respect the game. And I
Yeah.
respect people's games. That's
Well,
why I don't count anybody's money.
I was more disappointed last year than I was this year because
Why more last year?
last year I didn't feel like we got a fair shake. Last year we didn't even get the opportunity because we had like no quarterback, and
Because
so I
Christian
didn't.
McCaffrey, you didn't think could be a
He's not our
quarterback.
quarterback, no.
He's
So I
everything else.
didn't. Yeah, but I didn't feel like we got beat. Right, like I didn't
Right.
feel like our best was beaten. I feel like we came in handicapped.
Okay.
Whereas last night we were at our best. I mean, yeah, we lost, Greenlaw and things of that nature, but it doesn't matter. At the end, that was it. We came in fully loaded and we got beat.
Right.
I can respect that. If you beat us at our best, you won, man. And you blame more plays. It is what it is.
Right.
So I was less disappointed, even though the stakes were higher last night. But no, I don't think it takes away from the excitement. Like that's the thing. I don't have to have extreme highs and extreme lows to appreciate excitement. Um, I was excited last night, man. Ask my wife, dude. I was like, she saw me at the edge of my seat watching. I'm like, I'm into it. To me, that's one of the things I love most about football is competition. And people watch movies and we have all this entertainment. And oftentimes what makes it entertaining is the unknown. We have no idea what's going to happen in the story.
Right.
Well, to me, that's part of what football is a big story. Like we have no idea how it's going to end. And so you get hyped up, you get excited. So even though we lost, I had a great time last night. Like it was so enjoyable to watch it unfold. It just so happens that it didn't go the way I wanted it to.
That's right. So new question.
Sure.
Gambling has become a big thing. I mean, it's always been a thing,
Yeah, I'm about to say,
but it's
always
become
been
a
a thing.
very accepted thing.
It's become legal.
And it's just it's almost like when I was a kid, if you would have told me gambling and marijuana would be as open as accepted as both those two things are, I would have said right on. Great, you know what I mean?
Right.
As a kid. Here as an adult, I got to admit there's a little bit more concern than before, because as you get older, you have different reasons that you look at things different,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
But and again, I'm not passing judgment on it at all. I mean, whether I do it or not is irrelevant. It's just not my thing. But do you think it adds to people's disappointment and adds to some of the chaotic stuff that we see surrounding victories and losses?
Oh, definitely. Matter of fact, I think that there's a lot of people that's the only reason why they watch.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I don't participate in fantasy football. I did it for like 2 seasons. But a lot of the people that I know, the whole reason why is because it makes the games more enjoyable. Because if you're watching two teams that you're not really invested in, but you've got a player on your fantasy team on there, then you're really invested because you want to see them score points. And so that's literally the only reason why you're watching that game is because you're gambling on it. Just to touch on the gambling thing real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that gambling is like it gets such a pass. Like, because it doesn't get talked about a lot, right? Like we'll watch a movie every now and then that'll touch on it or something.
Right.
But I don't think the mainstream individual really truly wraps their head around how bad being a degenerate gambler, like just having an actual problem can be and how it can devastate a family.
Right.
I don't think the average everyday individual really can wrap their head around that.
Well, that's where my struggle comes into play, to be honest with you, because as a treatment professional and treating people that suffer addictions, and gambling can be an addiction to some people, and just to see the amount of lies in that particular addiction, more so than even substances. Because look, there's a joke that says, "How do you know when you're talking to an addict, or when an addict's telling you a lie. They say, "Well, his lips are moving," right?
Right.
Well, gambling, there's an even heightened sense of lie that happens. There's a lot of hidden money, and it can really destroy you seriously, like faster, because money is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Like you need it for your house. Like my uncle got one of his houses in Juarez in a poker game. I mean, he literally won his house in Mexico in a poker game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never known him to lose, but I definitely knew the victory. Now, that to me, like, how do you go home to explain that? I lost, right? But honey, pack it up.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question then, just a philosophical question, right? Because I mentioned Jordan earlier.
Right.
And so from what I can remember, even as a young adult,
Yeah.
like I remember so many times they would talk about Barkley and Jordan gambling and losing, just these outrageous like games and poker games.
Mhm.
Even for golf, like Mickelson and all of them talk about famously betting on each holes. Like, why do you think it gets such a pass? Right? Like, we're all aware, like, it's not a secret that gambling can ruin lives. They even have it on every single one that gamble responsibly. If you have a problem, call them.
Right.
So it's not like we're like completely, unaware of it, but it gets I would say it gets even more so of a pass than weed and alcohol does. Because I would say weed and alcohol, it at least gets targeted every so often. Somebody will have a problem with it. But gambling, man, like, because when I say gambling, people were probably thinking Super Bowl gambling, but buying a lotto ticket and scratch offs, and that's all gambling, right? Like, it's such there's soccer moms out there picking up scratch offs at the thing. And there's people who, they get together and they do like $1 a week for lottery, or they get the whole, all the employees will get together.
Right.
So it's like, it really truly is like don't say anything. Like, why do you think that is?
Great question. I think because every addiction that is associated with a substance or a behavior that many people do without problem or without consequence or without addiction being the driving force gets a bigger pass. So the more that people do something or use something and they don't have those negative experiences, it makes you then look at those that are having all the negative consequences as the problem and not the substance or the whatever as the problem. For instance, you say that gambling gets a bigger pass than alcohol. I differ on that. I think alcohol is the number one pass giver. I think alcohol gets the number one pass in the world. I think, when you talk about 1 in 8 people between ages 20 to 65, 1 in 8 die of an issue related to alcohol use. All right. 1 in 8. That's more than COVID. And when you have a number as big as 1 in 8, we locked the world down, and it wasn't even in the 20 to 65-year-old bracket. And it wasn't a 1 in 8 death, and we locked the world down.
This is what I was basing that on, though.
Consistently kills people at a very high rate and does not get the attention.
This is
because so many people can do it normally.
Well, this is what I was basing it on.
Okay.
If like my 18-year-old or my 17, 16-year-old, right? Like my 15-year-old comes home and I find a scratch off in their pocket, but if they come home with like a beer, we're going to have a talk, right? Like, I think a lot more parents are going to be upset, or rightfully so, if they come home with alcohol or whatever. If you come around the corner, you see a bunch of teens, drinking alcohol, you that's a problem.
You're relating it to age. You're relating it to age, though.
Well, that's what I mean by it gets a bigger pass.
All right,
like our mentality around it.
Well, let's relate it to something.
I mean,
different.
maybe I'm not. It's just opinion, obviously.
Let's just relate it to something different. What about if you're someone you care about borrowed money from you and they actively gambled it? If someone borrows money from you at a bar to get a drink, that is a normal thing. A lot of people loan money and they know that they're going to go out and drink with it. But if you loan money to somebody because they got to place a bet, that might feel a little bit different for you. So it may not be age appropriate, but it definitely is value appropriate.
I can see that.
So gambling is one of these things that when the sickness is in play, you lie where you're at. You lie what you did. You know, I mean, it's no secret that I have family members around, you know, some poker rooms, right? And in those poker rooms, I hear of all the lies that they have to listen to, that people lying to their wives or where they're at, that
Sure.
they're not really where they say they're at, blah, blah, blah. And when I hear that stuff, it's like, it's just, to me, it just, you guys, you know, you're going to get caught, right? And I don't mean to say just guys, but I just focus on guys because it's easier to just
Sure.
man on man talk, kind of let me get on you a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you're setting yourself up for a fight later. And then you know darn well you're going to act like it's not a big deal, or what are you talking about? And you're only going to talk about when you win, right? You're only going to bring it up when you win. You're going to rub it in their face when you win. You're going to say, oh, yeah, you complained today, but you didn't complain last week when you got that purse. You know what I mean? There's always that kind of conversation, right?
Sure.
That somehow you minimize it. I mean, have you noticed that when you hear about people talk about like a trip that they took to Las Vegas or some sort of casino, that they always tell you about the winning story? They don't necessarily tell you about the time that they went and they lost $3,000. You know,
Yeah.
But they'll tell you about the time they won $3,000.
Well, how about when
Yeah.
I went, when Angel and I went to go get married, when I got back, everybody's first question was like, "Oh, did you do any gambling?" I was
Yeah.
like, "No." Like, I
Right.
think she put a couple bucks on one of the slot machines. We played
Right.
one time, and that was
Right.
it. And everybody was just like, "What?" Like, yeah, like there's other
Yeah.
stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it freaked
Yeah.
everybody out. Like, had I
Yeah.
told them I went and lost like $5,000, that would have been
Right.
more acceptable than me telling them no, I didn't gamble at all.
Right. It's also the only one that everybody has a system. Right? Everybody has you don't hear people say, I have a system of how I smoke. I have a
Bro.
system of how I drink. I have a system on how I use cocaine. I have no, but every gambler
Yeah.
has a system.
You just brought back memories on that one, man. When I got introduced into horse betting, I met a bunch of people. When I
Right.
dabbled my toes in that world to just see what it was about,
Right.
I met so many old timers, man, and
Right.
they all had a system that was a sure bet.
Right.
And I was just
Right.
it wasn't really though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think you hit on something earlier that I think maybe kind of explains a little bit as to why it gets a little bit more of a pass. I think it is
So many
because
people can use it normally or do it normally.
well, there is an upside,
Mhm.
right? There's really not much of an upside for shooting heroin in a Burger King bathroom, right? There's
Oh,
not really
yeah.
going to be.
Yeah,
You do
went
that.
You went to the lowest low, though.
But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I did went to the lowest, but I'm
Nobody
just saying
shooting
it's not,
heroin in a bathroom is thinking that they're not an addict, though.
Yeah, touche.
The denial doesn't live
Um,
on the bathroom floor at a Burger King.
I'm just saying that there's very few scenarios to
Mhm.
where I can come home and
Right.
brag to my whole family that I just used, drugs, and that
Right.
they're going to celebrate and be happy for me. There's
Yeah.
very few scenarios that I can imagine where that's going to be the case. However, if I went to Vegas for the weekend and I took $100 and put it on black, and it came back and I won 10,000, everybody's going to celebrate and think that's a wonderful thing.
Right.
Like, like you said, they're not going to pay attention to the losing. So I think that's why it does get a pass, because if you do win, if it is that, everybody around you is excited for you and celebratory and happy, and it's a great thing.
Well, so there is others, because
Sure.
you said heroin, but I'm going to give you another one, because we all know.
I'm sure
those of
Coke
you,
is probably in there somewhere.
I was going to say, those of you that know how I
Yeah.
look, and the way I guess I present the way I kind of like walk, talk, look in a suit, it might look a certain way to people. So I'm in Allentown, Pennsylvania, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and my waiter at the restaurant divulges to me, when he finds out I'm a Latino, what kind of Latino? He finds out, I'm Mexican, Puerto Rican, blah, blah, blah. Goes, yeah, I go to Dominican Republic all the time. I said, okay, good. That's a great place to be. You can get more for your buck. He goes, yeah, I know. I go there. You can go there. I get, and he does this. He does the
universal symbol,
the universal sign of doing cocaine. And he's like, I go there and I immediately, I could sit there and just do blow for several days and then come back. I'm thinking, you openly just
Sure.
said, because cocaine is one of those drugs that a lot of people use and don't feel that they have reached the level of dirtiness
Sure.
or addiction, like when you said heroin on a bathroom floor.
Sure.
And I know, because I was one of them when I did it in the 80s. I mean, trust me, I was one of them. I didn't know when you said crackhead and you said me, those two shouldn't have been in the same sentence in my head at the time,
Sure.
right? Now I
Sure.
view it very differently, and I'm like, I feel very blessed to be on this side of the situation. But I don't look at the people that have ever been on the other side of the situation and look down upon them, because I know how close that line really is and how similar that line
Sure.
really is.
I think the main, like, that guy, it'll probably never be on the news of them celebrating that he scored a big score in Dominican Republic.
Right.
Whereas the lotto winner, it's all
You're
over
right.
the news.
You're
that
right.
They look, he won $1
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, how many lotto tickets did he buy
Yeah.
over his lifetime to get to that $1 million?
Right.
So it's like it's celebrated. Like it's like it's immediately overlooked, anything
Right.
bad that comes with it. And it's
Right.
and I'm guilty of it myself, right? Like I'm guilty of well, since I started getting into the Not Matters More Foundation and I got into the addiction world with you, I have purposely gone
or
out of my
recovery
way.
world with me. We can say it that way.
Well, same thing.
I got you.
I purposely go out of my way
Mhm.
to not post anything that would be gray when it comes to that.
Oh, appreciate
Right?
it.
Like I don't post I won't post jokes, or I won't post memes. I do my dad jokes every day. Anything that is remotely close to that world, I just purposely stay away from.
Right.
I think way back when I was first in the foundation, I still drank a little bit, and I think the last one I posted was a picture of me
It was
holding
a beer bottle.
saying,
No,
I was saying,
it was just a beer bottle.
yeah, it was like it was a good beer at the time. I really enjoyed it.
I remember the post.
And I think that was the last post that I ever did that had any of that type of stuff, because I just felt that it was inappropriate.
Right.
But I found myself last night posting about, hey man, I got the bets in or whatever. Like it was just never even occurred to me, never even thought about it. So I'm guilty of it as well, of this weird separation of the thing.
And Trinity, I'm the kind of provider, I'm the kind of treatment professional that says, listen, man, I don't want the world to change just because of my own personal situation, right? You know what I mean? It's like if I was allergic to peanuts, I don't want everybody not to have peanuts. Just don't have them around me. And in this situation, look, even my wife drinks. I'm cool with it.
Sure.
I'm not anti-drug, and I'm not anti-alcohol. I'm anti if it's destroying your life and you're not willing to look at it. I'm anti-disease.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, look, I don't like cancer, but I'm not going to say stay away from the sun. I mean, sun is out there, right? I still go out there. And you might get skin cancer.
I'm for that. Stay away from the sun.
Yeah, but protect yourself as well you can. But I'm not going to go to somebody with skin cancer and say, "See, you're an idiot. You should have covered up.
You deserve it."
You deserve it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go to somebody with prostate cancer and says, "What did you do wrong? You must be something you did wrong," or breast cancer. Right. You should have got rid of those after you were done using them. I mean, what are you gonna? Come on, man. I mean, look, these things exist in life. And we need to understand that you could have an issue with processing disappointment like we're talking today, or even celebration like we're talking today, to the point where you use something that can totally give you it's not sustainable. It gives you the complete opposite response than what you were looking for. There's a lot of people today apologizing for something they did yesterday. We just know that's the case because there was a lot of drinking going on yesterday. And whenever there's that much heightened drinking going on one day, I guarantee you that the following day, and I did no research on this, Trinity. I have no math, but I'm still going to put it out there to let someone come in and complain about it. Because I guarantee you there's a lot more apologizing the day after a big drinking day than on a regular day.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because there's a lot of phone calls that got made late last night that somebody said, you called me last night, right? I'll be like, oh my God, what did I say?
Boy.
What'd I say? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called because it happened.
Yeah.
There's more fights associated with drinking than sober activity. I mean,
sure.
Who out there listening right now can't think of at least one person in their life that the moment they get a few drinks in them, be careful, because they're going to get argumentative.
Oh yeah.
You could just be pulling over at the 7-Eleven to get a drink on the way home,
talking about fight.
And you could see it coming by the way they got out the car and the way they walked into the 7-Eleven, and just knew, oh boy.
Yeah.
You keep an eye on them. These things occur. We see it with drinking, and we see it with any form of drug use. In those of you that want to reclassify drugs and say these are considered drugs, these are not considered drugs, that's fine. That's on you. But what I'm saying is that when it comes to an emotion like celebration or disappointment, we tend to do the same substances. The same substances are involved with celebration and disappointment. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. And to reiterate to your question earlier, I thought about as you were talking,
Mhm.
it did make it a little bit sweeter actually. Now that I think about it,
Mhm.
because one of the side bets that I did have was that Mahomes was going to throw an interception.
What?
And as a 49ers fan,
Right.
him throwing an interception, yeah, that's what I want. That's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
But I did find myself when he did that,
I
I jumped up out of my seat like, yeah, I was fired up. But
clap
then
for you.
but then I finished it off by saying, and I got paid for it. So like it did make it a little bit sweeter knowing that not only as a 49er fan did that be a potential turning point in the game,
Right. Right.
but I also got paid for it too. So like it did
Yeah.
feel a little bit sweeter for sure.
I celebrated with you when that happened.
Yeah.
When he threw the interception, I did look at my son-in-law John, and I said, "Boom, Trinity got that. He wanted that one."
Yeah.
Yeah, those things. Look, and I get it, and I get it. Look, I'm not anti-gambling. I don't not gamble. I just don't gamble, but I don't not gamble either. You know what I mean?
Right.
You saw what happened right before the thing. He's doing those same things you were doing. I don't know what he did it on. He's sitting there on his phone. I said,
yeah.
"What are you doing?" He's like, "I got this parlay. I got this." I don't know what the hell he's talking language over there, and then he starts telling me the sentences. Oh, do you think that this is going to happen? Do you think this is going to happen? Do you think this is going to happen? And I kept on saying yes, no, yes, no. By the time I was saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, he goes, "All right, you want to go in with me? Just $10 a piece, $20." And it was $20 for 8 things. You can win $280 or some ridiculous thing he said. I said, "I'll give you $10. Just do whatever, man."
Right.
Because I can see that definitely the new way to view sports is to not really be loyal to any team and just be loyal to like little things like your fantasy guy did well or your bet came through.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant what
Yeah.
team you like. And I do see a trend moving in that direction.
Well,
And I
they
blame,
make it
by the
so
way, I
easy.
blame basketball for that. I do blame basketball for that. The disloyalty of basketball players that just jump from teams to teams and they don't really, it's not about the city anymore. It's not about where you come from and what you root for. It's more about like, can you get a few of your boys to go with you to this other team and go win a title?
Yeah. Well, the two things that when you say that, the two things that pop in my mind that make it dangerous, that I could see it being a problem,
Right.
is number one, they make it easy. Like stupid easy, like incredibly easy to place bets on things.
Right.
You don't have to understand what the positive or negative, you don't have to understand any of that. You literally just point, click, boom, you make a bet. Like I was shocked at how easily I was able to place a bet yesterday for the game minutes before it started, and you didn't have to know anything. Like it was ridiculously easy to do. Number one. So I think that the ease of use is scary.
Yes.
Because you could bet on anything. Like we could bet on how long the anthem was going to be. Like it's insane.
Well, Clara bet on that same bet that you bid. Apparently, Clara on Facebook Live, she put, "I wanted that also." So she had.
Well,
she
she's
probably
a
had
49ers
the bet.
fan.
Well, she had the bet that Mahomes that
she's a 40. And Clara, I got that. I still got that cup by you. Thank you. So but the other thing that I think what makes it dangerous or even scary is so the ease of use, how quickly it is, but also it's a really how do I say this? It's a in an ironic way, it is a great way to combat disappointment.
That's true.
Right? It is a great way to combat disappointment because if you put a bunch of bets on it, even if your team loses or whatever, but you won money, at the end of the day, because that does affect you, right? Like if I would have put today I was middle ground, right? I wasn't too high, I wasn't too low. It sucked that we lost, but it was a good game. Right. My bets even I lost 2, but I won 2. I broke. I think it was like even, or it might be like $3 or $4 down or something.
Right.
But had I won all my parlays and I like I don't know, it would have been like 10 times my money had I won those things.
Right. Yeah.
I probably would have been. I wouldn't have been middle today. I would have been a little bit up, right? Because I would have been like, hey,
I got you.
I would have been like, my team lost. It sucks, but hey, man, I walked away with $200, right?
I agree.
Because the $200 would actually affect my life.
That's how it gets you, though.
Well, then winning or losing doesn't affect my life.
That's how they get you.
And I think that's what the scary part is it's so easy to get into it, and all you need is a couple wins,
right,
with your team losing, and you see how it offsets it, and then boom, that's it. That's all you're going to focus on, because
Right.
it is heartbreaking when your team loses and you're into it.
Yes.
But not so bad if you want a couple $100 off of it. It takes away that heartbreak a little bit, and so that is what scares me. That's what makes it dangerous.
And again, at the top of the show, I said one of my friends had $50,000 riding on it, and I was
wrap my head around that.
I was so scared for him. I watched the game 100% differently because of that information.
Right.
It was 20,000 in the morning. It was 25,000 a little bit later. Within 2 hours, it was 30,000, and then by game time, right before game time, it was 50,000. I said, you need to put your phone down and stop betting. So, because I thought 20 was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And brother, if you're watching this, dude, I was I was stressing for you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you fell asleep during the game, I don't know how you fell asleep during the game and then didn't find out until like 2 hours later after the game, because I was stressing it for you. But so it changed. That's why, Trinity, I was going to say I want the 49ers to win. That's what I was going to go for you. I was going to say 49ers, I want you to win. And
please
then,
don't. And everybody you go for loses.
Well, apparently
you're
it was
like
already
the Black
known.
Widow of picks, man.
I am. So apparently God already knew what I was picking. But then when my boy told me what he did, I was like, I cannot go for any team now, because I don't want any juju blame whatsoever. I didn't want him to look at me and be like, dude, you put the bad juju on. I am not betting for or against anybody. I was like,
you know what? That's why I put my phone down, by the way. Last night, like normally I can text all day long through games or whatever, but last night I just took my phone. Like I heard it coming in, but I was like, nope, I'm not jinxing it. I'm watching the game, man. I'll give it to y'all later.
That's it. That's how I watch games.
Yeah,
that's usually look, the way I like to watch is I don't watch with people typically. You know what I mean? If they're here, they're here. If they're not, they're not. But I'm like, focused on the game. So don't expect me to be like entertaining you. Because I'm watching this game. And focused on it. And I don't like looking at the phone, because me, I'm usually 30 minutes behind. I'm usually like 15 minutes behind.
Ahead of me.
I don't know how I get ahead of you sometimes, but
you're like two
that's
plays
only
ahead
for
of
watching. That's only for watching it live. If I get caught up,
that's why sometimes if my team's playing, I just That's what you give me this little
panic.
Stream it.
Well,
you give me this little panic every time, because when my phone goes off and the play hasn't happened, I know it's either incredibly good or incredibly bad. And so I'm like, I don't know which one it is. So I have this little miniature panic of like, am I gonna be really happy or am I gonna be upset?
So just to wrap it all up, people, we're talking disappointment today because some of you are extremely disappointed and some of you are extremely excited. But look, either way, keep your emotions in check to the point where you can manage whatever's coming with it. And if your emotions led you to a place where you found yourself overusing something that you would normally overuse, or overusing in a way that you may have thought you had been away from, and you successfully finished it and now you're back to it, pick up the phone and call somebody, get some help, reach out. Don't lie about it. If you're disappointed in something that went bad, just don't lie about it. Just you got to be brutally honest to beat the things that are inside you sometimes. You got to out yourself. The people that love you will be there. The people that support you will be there. And if you're one of these that think, but if I say, I promise I never would. So if I say it, she'll leave me or he'll leave me. Well, that didn't change your behavior. So don't let that change your truth, because it didn't alter what was more important, which is you want that kind of information to alter behavior, not to make you a liar. That's the intent of telling you, I'm going to leave you if you do it. Wasn't I'm gonna leave you, not if you do it, but if you tell me you did it. No. You got to act as if you're always going to get caught, because a majority of the chances you are going to get caught. The truth comes out. You got to live life like it's coming out. And if you can't live your life like it's coming out and deal with the consequences that come with that, then something probably needs to change. And if it does need to change, go to nowmattersmore.org, reach out to us. Maybe we can help. Maybe there's something that we do that can help you. Nowmattersmore.org or 833-NOW-MATTERS if you want to pick up the phone. But other than that, Trinity, final words on this topic?
Yeah, I just say, disappointment, like anything else, in moderation, man. It's okay. I'm not saying never be disappointed, but no, don't be disappointed to the point where it affects like your whole day and your mood.
Right.
perspective, man.
That's right. And how can they reach us, follow us, do any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can check us both out on at Dope and Dharma on most social media, or as you see at the bottom of the screen, at the Dope Doctor or at the Dharma Guy. You can look up Dope and Dharma on YouTube, Twitch, or any of your major podcasting platforms.
Great. Couple things coming up this week, fellas. Valentine's Day on Wednesday. Don't forget Valentine's Day on Wednesday. And some of you got lots of making up to do because of what you did Sunday. And some of you with your winnings, like I know my boys shopping for a diamond because of those winnings. Smart man, because you won. So time to upgrade that ring. She'll like that. And then as far as Tuesday, they're retiring Shaq's number, the Magic game. So congratulations, Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh.
You're awesome. I've always loved Shaquille O'Neal. I think he's one of the most awesome characters that we've had on this earth. He's just entertaining as hell. And they're retiring his number at the Magic game. So if you find yourself going to the Magic game to celebrate Shaq, or if you see him around town the next couple of days, just tell him congratulations, because that's why he's here. Anyway, with all that being said, let's go back to, Shaw back in the booth over there at WOKB 1680 AM and 100.7 FM in Orlando. And adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.